Thank you. And thank you also for inviting us, and welcome to today's talk on dialogue and intervention exploring the scientific culture of AI. In the following, we will introduce the research design of our study and present the initial results. In the second part of our presentation, we would like to discuss together with you. We investigate the scientific culture in the field of artificial intelligence within ScaDS.AI Dresden Leipzig, the Center for Scalable Data Analytics and Artificial Intelligence. ScaDS.AI was founded in 2014. Since 2018, it has been expanded into one of the German competence centers for artificial intelligence. Since 2022, it is institutionally funded by the Federal Ministry of Education and Research and the Free State of Saxony. Because of this structure, we use Schein's organizational culture model as a reference. This model distinguishes 3 levels of culture, whereby these are divided into visible and invisible levels. In our research project, we are interested in the invisible level, in particular, the perceptions, thoughts, and feelings of AI researchers and AI developers. Thereby, the following 3 research questions guided us through the study. First, how do AI researchers and developers reflect on AI systems in basic and in applied research in terms of values? Secondly, to what extent do AI researchers and developers see potential in actively involving social actors in research and development processes? Thirdly, how far are mechanisms of discrimination and exclusion in connection with categories such as gender, origin, ethnicity, age, social status taken into account by those responsible in research and development processes? In our research design, we have chosen to work with a qualitative research method in which the aim is to first open the research field, gain impressions, and generate initial hypotheses. CitizenScience.AI is a platform founded in 2022, which is embedded in the equality strategy of ScaDS.AI Dresden Leipzig and cooperates with its research area Responsible AI. Our interdisciplinary team, consisting of Stefanie Feilitzsch, Marie Kukuczka, and Schiet Ziesman, is socialized in different scientific cultures in the fields of education, humanities, social, and natural sciences. We work under the direction of Dr. Jutta Eckert, the Equal Opportunities and Women's Representative at TU Dresden. We work in 2 different fields of action. On one side, we organize events to make AI accessible as citizen science. This includes dialogue forums, film evenings, and exhibitions, which are carried out in cooperation with AI researchers, interested scientists, artists, and personalities from politics and science communication. Through these events, we aim to reach a broad public on the TU Dresden campus and in urban areas. The second focus of our work is to sensitize AI researchers and developers to our core topics, which are participatory justice, sustainability, gender equality, and cultural diversity. To achieve this, we developed a qualitative explorative guideline interview in which conversational impulses are set to see to what extent our core topics are reflected on the one hand, and to find out which topics are important to AI researchers and developers on the other. The guideline not only functions as a data collection tool, but also as an intervening moment that can encourage interviewees to reflect. The central starting point is a constructivist view of human nature. According to this view, learning is an active construction process in which people are irritated in their learning processes and thus encouraged to deal intrinsically with various topics. The guidelines were developed in a participatory manner over a period around 9 months. The events that we held ourselves also provided important impetus. As part of ScaDS.AI Dresden Leipzig, we are also integrated into the corporate culture, attend internal company events, and therefore have good access to the research field. We are investigating members of ScaDS.AI Dresden Leipzig who are researching AI fundamentals or developing AI applications. We conducted 8 face-to-face interviews between February and April 2024. They lasted between 30 and 90 minutes, and we opted for a quota, but also randomized sample selection. Quota sampling in the sense that it was specified in advance that at least 3 interviews with principal investigators and at least 3 interviews with team members were to be conducted. A further criterion was that at least 3 female readers should be interviewed, which meant that women had a statistically higher probability of being included in our sample. Unfortunately, we were not able to recruit any woman with the title of professor for the interview. We opted for the evaluation method of circular deconstruction according to Jäcki, which compared to grounded theory enables a faster evaluation due to the predefined steps. In a nutshell, the aim is to take the written transcripts apart in a circular manner and reassemble them from different points of view so that initially inconspicuous meanings gradually become apparent in order to continuously approach the object of research. Subjective distortions due to different readings can be reflected and analyzed within a research team in a joint exchange, which has set a constructive, creative, and productive process in motion. The following presentation of initial results provides a brief insight into this. 3 areas that directly and obviously correspond to the research questions are: first, value-based reflection on AI research; secondly, citizen participation in research and development processes; thirdly, reflection on mechanisms of discrimination and exclusion. And during today's conference, we will explain the third point in particular in more detail and then discuss it with you. Now to the first one, value-based reflection on AI research. When asked about ethical and social issues, the majority of interviewers initially reacted with a defensive attitude and a need for demarcation. Researchers who position themselves in basic research see the responsibility as lying with applied research and the individual disciplines that collect the data. One hypothesis that has emerged is that socialization in the medical culture leads to a different understanding of ethical and social issues compared to other AI cultures. In the course of the interview, the interviewees increasingly open up and tell us what topics are important to them. For example, they talk about the handling of data that should be openly accessible to researchers, but they also reflect on the need to strive for traceability when handling their own data. They see their own responsibility, in particular, in contributing to the explainability of algorithms in order to overcome the black box issue. Now, I would like to give you a few first insights into the evaluation of the second research question. To what extent do AI researchers and developers see potential in actively involving social actors in research and development processes? The majority of interviewees do not believe that citizens are a key factor in sustainable and socially responsible solutions. Only the interviewee from the medical field agrees with this thesis. From the researcher's point of view, citizens are good for collecting or donating data. One hypothesis we would like to formulate in this regard is that people in mid-level academic positions rate citizen participation more favorably than people who hold a professorship. However, those who agree conditionally and see value in citizen participation for their work also raise the question of implementation. Researchers mainly perceive citizens as uninterested, uninformed, skeptical, and fearful. For this reason, science communication is very important to all of them, and they see a need to educate citizens. But actually, for them, this requires the necessary funding and appreciation. One interesting observation is that, in contrast to the men, all of the women could make a change of perspective and also see themselves in the role of the citizen. Now to the last point, reflection on mechanisms of discrimination and exclusion. When asked about the significance of socio-cultural characteristics such as origin, age, gender, and class, in research and development processes, the interviewees identified two different levels. Firstly, in their own scientific work, whereby only the interviewee from the medical field who actively works with people takes socio-cultural characteristics into account in her own research. Secondly, the reflection of the diverse structure of working groups. The interviewees' working groups are international and socialized in different scientific cultures. In their opinion, however, a diversity of age or gender would be difficult to realize. B8 shows an awareness of the problem, emphasizing the concrete benefits of various working groups. I would now like to read his quote to you. I also notice from my daily work that there are simply different problem-solving approaches, behaviors, different ways of looking at problems. That doesn't always make it easy because not everyone look at it in the same way. But in the end, I always had a feeling that it sometimes teaches you perspectives that you wouldn't have had, and I thought that was really important. Yes, and at least in the conversations over dinner, because we simply question a lot of things. I had never asked myself certain questions about authorship that you might ask yourself differently if you were hypothetically a female engineer who would generally have had problems, let's say, being taken seriously. But even if various working groups are advocated, awareness of the problem alone is not enough. It requires a lot of energy and effort, as can be seen from the quote from before. So it's important to know when you're navigating the academic world is, okay, if I don't have the right passport, I will have to put a lot of energy and money and psychological effort to navigate the visa stuff. To navigate that, I have not the same rights as the people that are living in this country, so I cannot lose my job or I cannot postpone my job. Everyone is aware that there should be more women in research. The cause and associated solutions are located in earlier stages of life, as B7's reflection also shows. We are also a very diverse team, and I'm also pleased that there are now many more women on this team. Computer science, or the subject in general, is unfortunately such a feminine deficient area. Yes, for whatever reason, I think it starts in kindergarten, that it is already a part of education, that women are not, in my opinion, but off from these topics from the outset or forced into their roles, into old roles. In some cases, they also actively reflect on their own role in contributing to the problem within the personal selection process. Yesterday, we had an application procedure for a vacancy, right? There was one female applicant and 3 male applicants. And of course, the female applicant didn't get a job. And of course, nobody said, we don't want a woman in this position. So not at all, right? But it seems to me that in the end, it's the networking aspects, how you're connected. They are always more important than all the other aspects. The requirements in personal selection are also sometimes seen as a cause of the problem. Our top priority, of course, quality and work. And of course, not just the quality and not just the work, but this ambition to learn something new. I think that comes to the prominent first place with us. And you can see that immediately in people's eyes when conducting a job interview. So when you look at the quota, and of course, when you then look at a second position, quality or this ambition, sometimes you have to hire the man. But in the beginning, it was 50-50 for us, the quota. And now that has unfortunately changed. All of the female interviewees have experienced discrimination. Some of them reflect on this, particularly in dialogue with each other, and think about possible solutions. Consideration is given to mandatory seminars on gender equality topics. The question is also raised as to what extent these can lead to the desired results. As a minimum solution, B6 argues in favor of a code of conduct at work. Discrimination, equality, diversity, somehow codes of conduct in the workplace. We don't really have anything like that. Yes, also addressing things that including reports of experiences, then of course anonymously. But I think people who aren't affected are very quick to ridicule it. But I do think that what is needed is for them to simply, for everyone to realize we pay attention to this here. And even if they don't internalize it and don't really have an honest understanding of it, they might still bite their tongue and take a step back. And that would help me, to be honest. Yes, thank you for your attention.